Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kyle Martin, and in today's video, we're going to be checking out my new, updated painting studio. Right after the fall art tour, I went to Madison and I delivered a painting to a friend of mine, and I got to see her painting studio. And I really got a lot of ideas for my own studio by visiting her. The main goal with redoing my studio was to make a place that was all my own, and to have a place that I felt creative just by walking through the door. One of the first things that I did when I started to refresh my studio was give the whole place a new paint job. When we started to think about creating a mural, Bella came up with a lot of different ideas on Pinterest, and we sort of combined a couple of different ideas to make one that really showcased our style. It wasn't that hard of a mural to make. All it took was some blue painter's tape and about 5 or 6 different colors of paint. For the colors of paint, we actually lucked out, and when we were at Menards, I noticed that they had some little pint containers of paint. So all I had to do was pick out the colors off of the color wall, and then they mixed just like a little 4 or 8 ounce jar of paint for me. And I found that that actually worked out really well for my mural, and I didn't need any more paint than what they gave me in those little containers. So I spent some time taping off the walls and figuring out my color scheme. You know, it always takes me way too long to figure out my color schemes. All it took was 2 coats of paint over the whole mural, a couple days drying time in between each coat. I think that the mural looks great. It makes me feel really good just to be in that space. It just feels modern and kind of flat, and the color palette that I chose just kind of lightens my mood whenever I see it. And I was thinking of Madison when I painted the mural, because downtown Madison is situated on an isthmus between 2 large lakes. So the little strip of land that runs between the 2 lakes is Madison. And my mural, it kind of goes from one wall way up over the ceiling and then onto the other wall. Kind of like the isthmus is just a little piece of land. Anyway, that's kind of what I was thinking about when I was painting the mural. I also painted the walls. So the walls were kind of a warm gray color. I don't know, I think that's everybody's go-to, is just to use a warm gray color. But when we chose colors, I decided to do sort of a cool, minty, kind of a fresh and modern green for the wall color, and that gave my studio a fresh look. And I also painted the floor. If you've ever been out to the chicken coop studio, you know that I have a blue floor in the chicken coop studio, and I wanted to have something that was similar but a little bit different. I chose a color that was a deep indigo blue, and I really feel like having the dark floor is just going to set off the colors in the mural, and it's going to set off the colors in my painting. As paint sort of drips off of my palette onto the floor, which inevitably is going to happen, I'm going to be happy with seeing little specks of different colors on that blue floor. Or, of course, I had to move everything out of my studio, sweep and mop the floor, and then spend a couple days on my hands and knees just painting the floor. But I think it looks great, and again, I wanted everything to have a fresh coat of paint just to give me a brand new start in this studio space. A huge improvement that I made in my studio was how I'm going to deal with reference material. So as a plein air painter, I love to set up my easel outdoors and stand with nature just large and big around me. In the past, I've tried everything with reference material. I've tried painting from 4" by 6" photographs. Well, that doesn't always work very well because the photographs can be kind of dark and just small. I've also experimented with printing things out very big. Print out tiles of a large image and sort of tape them all together and create a large image. Well, for this studio space, I wanted something that was easy, quick, and large. I do my best studio work when I'm able to stand back away from my reference material, sort of view the big picture, and just paint, just sort of like I'm painting outdoors when I'm painting landscapes. So I love standing back, and I love having a huge image to paint from, and the best way for me to do that in my new studio space was to create a large projector screen. I have a Epson projector, and I got that about 5 years ago, and I used to project huge on the walls of the chicken coop studio. Well, up in my studio, I didn't have a great wall to project an image onto, so I had to create a projector screen. I went to Home Depot and I found a piece of, it's called Plastex wall panel. It comes in the same size as a sheet of plywood, so 4 feet by 8 feet. Now this is a panel that is normally used in your bathroom, like you want a waterproof surface, so you use this Plastex wall panel. And it's just a plastic panel that's waterproof so that in your bathroom you don't have water splashing all over the walls. Or if you do have water splashing all over the walls, it's not ruining your walls. It's like a 1/16 of an inch thick. It's flexible. You can cut it with a scissors. I just measured out 4 feet by 5 feet, and I hung that from the ceiling just using a couple of screws stuck into a stud in the ceiling, and then connecting the projector screen to those screws with a couple of zip ties. It hasn't fallen off the wall yet, and I can easily get behind it and access the storage that's behind the projector screen. The projector screen is a huge improvement to my studio, and I'm so happy to have it up in my studio. I can easily just take a photograph from my phone, send it to the projector. There's nothing that's going to stand in between me and accessing my photo reference this winter in my new studio. I mounted the projector to the ceiling using just a projector mount that I found on Amazon. I think it's really going to be nice to have that projector up on the ceiling, out of the way, shining down onto the projector screen, projecting my photo reference. I wanted to have a studio that made me feel like painting the moment that I walked into the room. We all know that feeling of walking into an art store and seeing all the tube colors on the wall and just immediately feeling like grabbing one of those tubes, squeezing it out on the palette, and starting to paint. I got brand new tubes of paint and in all of my favorite colors, and I just stocked up my paint selection in my studio. So as a plein air painter, my tubes of paint are always in the back of my car. I've had to go out to my car, grab my frozen tubes of paint in the winter, carry everything into my studio, and work that way. It's going to be so nice just to have my own selection of paint tubes right up in my studio. And if I run out of a color when I am plein air painting, I can just remember that, go up to my studio, my own little paint shop, and I can just grab one of those tubes of paint and take it back out to the car. In my new studio, it was important that I have all of the artist furniture that I need in order to create paintings. I have a studio easel that I'm going to use, and also a taboret with a large scale plexiglass palette. Normally in the studio I would just set up my French easel and then pack it away when I was done painting for the day. But by having this large easel up in my new space, I won't have to set anything up or take anything down when I'm done painting. I'm just going to have things kind of ready to go. It's going to be really nice just to have that large mixing surface, and I'm not going to run out of space on my palette. Big upgrade in my new studio is my easel light. I've never had a nice light to work under while I'm painting in a studio. When I was redesigning my studio, I knew that that was one of the major things that I had to do. It kind of attaches right to the top of my easel. There's a flexible gooseneck on it, and the light bars you can move in any direction. It can probably illuminate something up to about 30 inches by 40 inches. I'm going to have nice, beautiful, balanced daylight to work on my canvas. Just a nice soft light. So I know that my paintings are going to be reading right as I'm creating them. I have to buy another one of these for Bella for the holidays, because I have noticed that we've been using it downstairs, doing a couple things with it, and she has kind of a desk setup, and I think it'd be really nice that she has a really good light to work under as well. It's just all the small details that I have added to my studio that are really making it my own space. I have a great space heater up there. I'm going to have nice, comfortable temperatures to work under while I'm painting up in the studio this winter. So bought myself a floor mat. Now this is just kind of a real squishy material that I can stand on, and it kind of feels like I'm standing on a cloud. I think it's something that people use around their countertop in their kitchen, like if you're cooking or something and you want a nice mat to stand on. I'm actually excited to stand on it barefoot, and I'm just going to feel like I'm painting in the summertime all winter long. And I found some really cool shelves from IKEA. They're floater shelves. They're in funky colors. I think we got them for $1 a piece. And I put those shelves up this morning just to kind of finish the space off. And I'm adding a lot of Bella's plants upstairs. By adding those plants and those shelves, it's really given the space a freshness and a feeling of creativity. I've stuck a couple of books up there. I'm sure that I'll be taking books from my larger downstairs library, upstairs over the next coming weeks. I just imagine that this is going to be a space where I can kind of sit in my nice big orange chair, just kind of explore different ideas and just spend my time thinking creatively and just spend my time enjoying myself. This little library, also my yoga mat, all of the plants, just everything. Just thinking about this space makes me feel creative. That's going to be the end of this studio tour. The studio took me a month and a half to put together, and I can't tell you how pleased I am to be unveiling this to you today. Please leave a comment. What is your favorite item that you have in your studio? Maybe sometime we'll visit each other in each other's studios. You guys, thanks so much for joining me in my studio today. It's my new creative space. I'm feeling really good on the inside about this space. If you're enjoying these videos, I'd appreciate it. Just leave a comment. Tell one of your friends about this. Happy holidays, everybody. For today's installment of Plein Vlogmas, we'll see you again soon. Alright, have a good night.